guys, I am Vaishali Kikan from Vaishali's e-learning and we are discussing the electronics engineering. So now we are moving on to a very interesting topic, that is the BJT. So we are going to discuss the BJT in detail in some upcoming videos. In 2 to 3 videos we are going to wind up the BJTs and we are going to discuss it in detail. So everything related to the BJTs we are going to cover. This is the introductory video on the BJT and we are going to understand the BJTs in detail in this particular video. We are going to practice some numericals also on the BJT. So now let's start with the introduction to the BJT. Now I had already discussed enough about the diodes in the previous classes. In a lot of classes I was discussing too much about the diodes. So diode were having the amplification property. So if I see the characteristics of the diode in the forward bias, the characteristics were like this. Now we have the amplification, right? So if I increase the voltage, the current was increasing exponentially over here. Right, if you remember the voltage current equation as well, you can remember that the current is increasing exponentially with the voltage. Now if I have any signal, let's suppose this is my signal, if I want to increase it, if I want to amplify it from the, let's suppose it is present in between 2 to -2 level, right? So from 2 to -2 level, if I want to amplify it and if I want to take it to 20 to -20 level, so with the help of diode, I cannot do that because diode will be amplifying this level also to a highest level. This level will also be amplified to the highest level. The lowest level over here, this will be also amplified to the highest level, right? When the diode is turned on or when the diode is in forward bias, it will be amplifying to the highest level. So it is not actually preserving the characteristic in the signal. So the diode is having the limited application as it cannot amplify a signal. So now the BJTs were invented in 1948 by the three scientists John Bardeen, Walter Brattain and the William Shockley at the Bell Laboratory in America. And the development or the invention of the BJTs revolutionized the electronics industry. Until now we are working with the BJTs, right, from the year 1948. So you can understand what kind of a discovery it was. It replaced the bulky vacuum tubes that we had. Right, so the BJTs are also known as the transistors. What does the word transistor mean? Transistor means transfer plus resistance, right? So we are changing the resistance in the transistor, and with the change of the resistance, we are providing the amplification properties. Now, how we are making the transistor? By sandwiching either P or N type of semiconductor between a pair of opposite types. So either we have PNP transistor or we have NPN transistor. So for the PNP transistor we have 2P type of semiconductor and in between I have the N type of semiconductor. For NPN I have 2N type of semiconductor and in between I have P type of semiconductor. So by sandwiching P or N type of semiconductor in between an opposite pair of semiconductor, I can get the transistor. So PNP transistor or NPN transistor. The transfer input signal current from the low resistance to the high resistance circuit. So it will be having a transfer of the resistance from low resistance to the high resistance. How we are changing the resistance? The resistance will be changed by changing the biasing. The first circuit is biased as a forward bias. This first PN junction is the forward biased and the second NP junction is the reverse biased. How it is giving me the controlled amplification? Because in the forward bias of the diode I have only one junction, PN junction, let's suppose, right? So this PN junction, when the it is forward bias, it will be giving me exponential increase in the current. Now here in the transistor we have, after the PN junction we have another NP junction also, which is reverse biased. Now this exponential increase in the current is now reverse biased. So I can get the limited increase in the current. So this is how we can get the amplification. Here I will be at the first junction I will be getting exponential increase. The second junction is balancing it. Second junction is reverse bias, which is balancing it. So here we have the low resistance in the first part. When it is forward bias we have low resistance. When it is reverse bias we have high resistance. So it is called as a transfer resistance. Current from low resistance is transferred to high resistance circuit in the transistor. So this is how we have the two types of transistor. Now here we have N P and N. This is my emitter, which is represented by E. This P is representing my base and this N is representing my collector. Here, this is my NPN type of transistor. Right, this is my PNP type of transistor. This P is representing the emitter, this N is representing the base, and this P is representing the collector. So for NPN type of transistor, the representation is somewhat like this. So if I want to represent it with the symbols, the symbol representation is like this. This is the base, this is the emitter, and this is the collector. Right, so here on the emitter we will be making the arrow. Now for the NPN, the arrow is the outward direction arrow. Right, so here in the case of this is the NPN. Right, coming to the PNP, in the PNP we have the arrow to be in the inward direction. Right, so this is the base, emitter and collector. This is my PNP type of semiconductor symbol. Right, so here you can see this. Here we have represented the NPN transistor symbol. For NPN, the arrow is in outward direction. For PNP, the arrow is in inward direction. So here we have the three separate regions: emitter, base and collector. So you can see the base is very thin as compared to the emitter and collector is very large in area as compared to the emitter and base. Emitter is moderate in size. Right, so we have over here two junctions. This is the emitter base junction, right, and this is the base collector junction. So we have two junctions over here, emitter base junction and the collector base junction, and we have three separate regions, emitter, base and collector. Now coming to the construction. Now the emitter we are choosing to be heavily doped. We are taking the semiconductor and we are doing the heavy doping for the emitter. So emitter supplies the charge carriers, the electrons or the holes, and it is forward biased with respect to the base. So when the emitter is forward biased with respect to the base, it will supply the charge carrier electrons and holes to the base. Supply a large number of majority carriers because it is forward biased. If I have NPN type of transistor, emitter supplies electrons to the junction. If it is a PNP type of transistor, emitter supplies holes to the junction. I hope you understood the functioning of the emitter. It is heavily doped, right, and it is having the moderate area. Coming to the base. Base is a middle section between the emitter and collector. It is very thin in size, right. So base emitter junction here is forward bias and having low resistance. Base collector junction is reverse bias and having high resistance. It is lightly doped and very thin as compared to the emitter, right. And all charge carriers can easily pass. Some of the charge carriers, like if I have the electrons, if I have NPN structure, the electrons from the N region are coming to the P region. So these electrons can combine with the holes of the P region, but because P region is lightly doped and very thin, most of the electrons can cross the P region and it can reach the collector region. So coming to the collector. Collector is having the collecting or gathering properties of the charge carrier from the base. They can collect or gather the charge carriers from the base. It removes charges from its junction with the base, right? And it is reverse biased with respect to the base, right? I have already told you the collector base junction is reverse biased. The doping level is in between the heavily doped emitter and the lightly doped base. So it will be having the in between doping. So it is having the larger size than the emitter and base of the transistor, right? The size is large because here the charge interaction can heat the collector region. So it can burn out the transistor overall. So we require the heat to be sinked out. And for that I am making the collector region to be bigger in size so that heat can sink out. Right? So it is larger than base and emitter region. Okay? So I hope you understood the three structures. Now coming to the operations of the transistor. Right? So we have the forward active mode. In the forward active mode you can see over here the base emitter region is the forward bias and the collector base region is the reverse bias. So emitter base junction forward bias, collector base junction reverse bias. So now when I have the VEB greater than 0.7 volt. So 0.7 volt is the barrier potential, and if I consider the VEB to be greater than 0.7 volt, then the forward bias would be there in the emitter base region and free electrons in the N emitter can move to the base region. Right, so this represent the current that is moving from emitter to the base, which is called the emitter current, right? So holes move from base to the emitter and the electron current is now useful because electrons are constituting the majority charge carriers. The holes constitute the minority charge carriers, so holes current are not useful over here. right? Emitter injection ratio is the ratio of electron current to the total emitter current, right? So it is also called as the emitter efficiency. So the electron current IE upon the total emitter current, right? So IE, due to electron current, I can represent as IN, or the total emitter current I am representing as IE. So this is how I will be getting the emitter injection ratio. It is also known as the emitter efficiency, and it is equal to 0.995, right? So electron emitted in the base are having the minority carrier with respect to the base, because base is now p type, the n type material was the emitter is n type, which is having the majority charge carriers. Electrons, now electrons are moving to the base. If the base is p type, and the base, the electrons becomes the minority carriers. Now base is thin and lightly doped region, and electron don't recombine with holes and reach to the collector, right? So base transportation factor, here we calculate, which is the ratio of the number of electrons arriving at the collector to the emitted electrons. Base transportation ratio is again 0.995. Now coming to the base current. The base current is the difference between the number of electrons and holes crossing the emitter base junction and the number of electron and holes crossing the collector base junction. The current which has left from the base, it is called the base current. So ICBO represents the leakage current. Now why the collector current is less than the emitter current? So emitter current consists of holes that do not contribute to the collector current, right? So collector current would be there due to the electrons which are crossing the base only, right? Not all of the electron injected into the base are successful in reaching to the collector. First, the current due to the holes is reduced. There would be no current due to the holes. Second, we are not having the full electronic current reaching to the collector, because some of the electrons can combine in the base to the holes, right? So now coming to the DC alpha. What is the DC alpha? The ratio of collector current to the emitter current is the DC alpha. So IC upon IE is the DC alpha. The relationship between the different current in the transistor is IE is equal to IB plus IC. The emitter current is equal to base current plus collector current. Right, so I hope you understood all of the things that I have discussed in this particular video. If you have any doubt, you can put the doubt in the comment, and I will be trying to resolve your doubt as soon as possible. I hope you like this session. If you like it, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and also give me your feedback. Don't forget to download the Vaishali's e-learning mobile application. Thank you so much.